Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today's video, I'm out riding in my local lap, Sky Harbor. And within today's video, I'm going to give a little bit of a ride comparison and kind of bike difference on my full-powered ARI Timp 2.0 and then the previous bike that I had, the Transition Relay, and then kind of talk about the ride differences. Alright, so I'm first going to start off by talking about just the bike drive system, just briefly, kind of talk about the differences. Obviously, this is a full-powered, has the Bosch CX5 motor, and it's 100 Newton meters of torque, while the Fazua Ride 60 on the Transition Relay was SL, and that one was 60 Newton meters of torque. Whew, nice little gap. Oh, gotta really slow down there. Alright, so quickly going over drivetrain, I mean, obviously Bosch is more powerful. I will say kind of how it delivers power, it is pretty natural feeling, just like the Ride 60. I'd say they're pretty on par in that section. They both have like ride power cutoff, so once you stop pedaling, it'll have a little bit of overrun. I'd say they're both pretty similar in that category as well. The different modes, you know, that's where you're going to notice the big difference. Oh. Hello. Usually don't really get hikers on that trail, but yeah, definitely the Ride 60. When you're on rocket mode, which is the full power, it just feels like, I want to say Tour Plus, or even E-Mountain Bike Plus would probably be on par. Once you put this bike in turbo, it is just insane the amount of power that it gives you. In terms of ride characteristics, it's definitely very noticeable how much more planted the ARI Timp feels. Maybe just because of the increased weight, but it definitely feels just very planted. It can also be the RockShox suspension that I have on here is the Zeb Ultimate, and then the Vivid Ultimate, while the Transition Relay had the DHX, and that's more of like a trail coil, but definitely this bike feels a lot more planted. It definitely feels a lot more planted. And wow, why is there so many people out on the trail today? What the heck? It's crazy. Right, sorry guys, getting sidetracked by everyone on the trail. Usually there's no one riding these trails. But yeah, definitely another thing that is noticeable is that the Transition Relay was a mullet. This bike is full 29. So with that, I feel like I do notice a lot of like bottom bracket height and clearance. It definitely feels like you're riding on a higher bike, where the Relay you felt a little bit more within the bike. Not saying that this bike you feel like you're standing over too much, but with the Transition Relay, I will say it was probably a little bit more comfortable for me. I'm still getting like accustomed to the Timp, but just something that I've noticed so far. One thing that I do really enjoy about this bike is it's definitely a better climber than the Relay. And you know, it might be due to obviously the more powerful motor and the increased weight, but the traction stability is really nice. You know, being full 29, it really gives you that bottom bracket height. I noticed myself really just like hammering up climbs with some of the rockiest, steepest bits, and you know, the bike doesn't really get phased too much due to that increased weight, the high bottom bracket height. I don't really have to worry about catching pedals, and I think this bike comes with stock 155 millimeter cranks, so that definitely helps out. I really like how ARI spec'd out this bike. I think they did a great spec for the elite build. So one thing that really stood out to me was the Vivid Ultimate. I think on this bike, if the Relay had that, I think it would descend, it would match the power of the descent. But yeah, really, this bike is really spec'd well. You have a GX drivetrain, and then the RockShox Ultimate stuff, which is kind of where you want to be at. And then some TRP. I think these are the brand new DH Evo Pros. So enough stopping power. One thing I will say though is that I think the transition relay was definitely more maneuverable. I'm not exactly sure the chainstay length. It might be the same or slightly longer, but that bike did feel, more maneuverable, and that could be due to, being the SL version, and just having lightness, and also having that mullet setup. Now, with that said, that bike was only 45 pounds. This bike is 50, and even still, like, I don't think there's a huge difference. I'd say it's probably like a 20% difference overall. This bike does still feel, I would say, just as poppy as a transition relay. On my initial impressions, I was like, oh, this bike is gonna be, not that great for jumps, but honestly, it really surprises me just how poppy it can be. Like, it's quite nice to jump around, kind of pop around, look for trail jibs. It does require a bit more effort to get off of the ground, but I would say maybe like a 10% increased effort to get off the ground. In terms of speed, I do feel like this bike is 100%, a lot better at maintaining speed. In terms of speed, I will say, yeah, this bike definitely, thank you. In terms of speed, I'll definitely say that this bike, is a lot faster due to that full 29 and kind of how it's set up. It also picks up speed really fast, of course, just due to being heavier, which is nice. But yeah, just wanted to give a quick little comparison between the two bikes, and of course, as I own this bike more, I'll probably give a little bit of pros and cons on what I liked from each. Oh yeah, I think just a steep pull. All right, and that's gonna be all for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing, and give the video a like, helps a ton. Whew, yep, I'm so excited to race this thing this season. Oh yeah, e-bikes are so good for getting some trail work done too.